We have an absolute beautiful match in Age of Empires 4. A top contending player, LouisMT, going to be starting off on the Chinese on the eastern side of the map. His opponent on the southern west side will be Twilight as the Knight Templars. Both teams looking to open up with the classic sheep run around and see which player gets some good RNG and is coming out on top with the most amount of sheep. LouisMT's got 3 already in the bag, where our boy Twilight not getting so lucky. The early aggressive scout from LouisMT really paying off, able to snipe sheep off his opponent's side of the map. This generally will become a bigger issue as the game progresses, as this means, well, Knight Templar will either have to expand into bushes earlier, or even go for deer or into farms, where LouisMT will be nicely sitting on this massive pack of sheep. The big problem is Twilight does actually see it now. I believe he knows LouisMT is dominating him in the sheep department. And it looks like he's trying to contest his side in the bottom right here. The fight, the mad dash for the sheep, always a chaotic and a fun part of AoE 4's openers, as it plays a little bit of RNG, but generally if you know what you're doing, and you can kind of minimize it to a certain degree, but it adds a little bit of randomness in the game. As we'll see, this man just barely miss another sheep. His luck today is just not, well, happening. Forced to retreat back to his town hall to drop off his 3 measly sheep, where LouisMT has 8, almost triple, make it triple his opponent's sheep. That is an absolute catastrophic blow to, well, the Knight Templars early game economy. Opening up with a standard 2 men on the gold here into the mining camp. The Kingdom of France is what he's going to be looking to upgrade, where we have LouisMT going for the Imperial Academy. The Age 2 land marks starting to come online at a relatively decent pace here. Here comes the sheep drop off right next to the mill, and we might see an Imperial official soon coming out to get that extra gold and money generating. But fret not, Twilight still believes in the cause as he's going further north, trying to find more sheep to save his early game, as he desperately needs it, so he doesn't have to, well, starve on food as the game progresses. As the map continues to develop, both players have now hit H2. We're about to see what each team, or each player in this case, decides to do for their strategy. We're not back when I would play a lot of Age of Empires, especially, I think it was in like the first 2 seasons. The Zuganu Rush was a very strong and potent strategy. I believe it's been nerfed since then. But that was something I would see a lot when I was climbing through the ranks on my journey to conquer. I would see a lot of these Zuganu rushes from the Chinese player. Very strong, very broken back then. I felt, especially if you weren't a top level player, that rush was just so potent and just absolutely would mess up your game if you didn't know how to respond to it properly. But we have a stable coming out of the Knight Templar player, probably looking for some early map control, maybe looking to secure the deer and prevent the Chinese player from getting, well, any good expansions across, trying to contain him. Where the Chinese player always happy to sit back, relax, and just enjoy his cup of tea, just eco up. The village coming up, 8 room 40 population, massive housing increase for the Chinese, where he has his Imperial official supervising each of his camps here, the lumber camp and the mill. I believe this allows you to drop off more resources to said location. It's giving you a better overall income. The game's still slow. Both teams deciding to eco. Early blacksmith coming out, I believe, for the Knights Templar here. Perhaps looking to get +1 melee. Look for a bit of damage onto his Knight here and see exactly what he's able to accomplish. Will he be able to get some chip damage and, well, reduce the villager numbers here and get himself back to an even villagers, since one of the perks of the Chinese, well, they produce some faster villagers. Right now it's 25 to 21. Mix that in with the Imperial officials. The economy is looking, well, relatively good for our Chinese player. The knight looking to head back. Maybe he wants to grab a sheep. But LouisMT looking to snag a beautiful hunt, denying it from his opponent and getting himself some more food. This man is about to be loaded up to the brim with real estate, meat for days. The pilgrim gonna walk out, get some work done. The knight scouting around, seeing what he could find. Perhaps try to clear the boar here to get the mill up and running so he can harvest it. Now rallying 2 knights to the bottom left of the map here. The damage is not happening, so LouisMT happy for sure about this, loving the scaling, just keep ecoing up. Having a couple of spearmen here lined up just to prevent any run bys for the knight. And we got a relatively passive game on our hands, as now the archery range is coming out from our knight's player. Is he going to go for a little tier 2 timing attack, or will he just use this as defense and look to go tier 3? Right now, that both players are basically broke in the bank, so there no tier 3 yet on the way. We only can speculate, as it's been a relatively passive game across the board. 7 minutes in, and no, not one unit has died except that poor deer and sheep. F's in the chat for them, boys. Wolves keep getting aggro. It's just running around and killing all the wolves like a good man. It looks like we finally have a little bit of a hit squad running around. 1 scout and 2 knights. Maybe he sees my boy LouisMT trying to get the hunt. He'll definitely notice it now. Seeing that some deer have been kidnapped against their will and is now in his opponent's base. The spearman moved quickly into position, allowing the Chinese player just to play relatively safe while still going for the hunt. And it looks like the early knight aggression has really done nothing but pretty much a gold sink at this point. Yes, he has some map control, but LouisMT is completely fine with this, as he's able to continue getting hunt, continuing ecoing up, and he's just loving life right now. Well, the knight player seems that, well, he's going, looks like he wants to go for a tier 2 push, as another stable has been put down. I can only see aggression with this type of style. He's looking to get some relatively aggressive fighting power, as the villager numbers are climbing and climbing, about a 15% villager lead now. Also, LouisMT does have a slight lead in army, but remember, he does not have knights. These are just regular horsemen and spearmen. A great composition. The knights are definitely worth more weight in gold, literally. Horseman gets spotted out, looking to get a quick pick. This also gives our Twilight member some good scouting information. He knows LouisMT is looking for a counterattack. Oh no, might lose the pilgrim. That would be a costly loss for our boy here. Gets absolutely sniped by the horseman, sending that man back to the Shadow Realm. Oh, housing coming up. Right now, he's gotten 2 upgrades in the blacksmith, going for double defense here. No aggression, just double safety. A little bit surprising since the Chinese player has no archer right now, just pure melee. Maybe he's just trying to get the maximum upgrades for his units. Very slow and passive once again. We're just waiting for our players to lock it in and to get some good trades. But Twilight does have some nice gathering here in the bottom right hand flank. One of the main advantages of going like knights in any early game aggression is you secure yourself map control, allowing you to gather this open food much more easily and much more freely. Meaning he's just looking to, doesn't have to spend any extra money in walls, or like LouisMT has had to do, pull the deer back to his base. But I'm pretty sure the Chinese player is completely fine with this type of gameplay, as he's able just to eco up, sit back and relax, and just enjoy the view. As this army, well, it's getting quite scary, but he knows it's coming. He's not going to be caught off guard, and he can see exactly what Twilight's been doing. And when your opponent knows exactly what you're up to, and you're generally trying to be aggressive, if the player is good enough, they can usually build the countermeasures, lock in the correct defenses, and if they keep a location on your army, well, they'll always know where you're at, but you'll never catch them off guard. Especially on a map like this where you have the forest lightly tucked in, mixed with the wall back here, means there's no real opportunity for Twilight to deal significant damage and get a cheeky run by to completely, well, flip the game over on its head. As each minute passes, I believe the Chinese player is getting further and further ahead, as these knights have made not one significant trade yet. And this is exactly what the Chinese player wants. Slow eco game, allowing him to scale into that mid to late game. Well, the knight player here looking to get some damage, but LouisMT, great positioning, forcing him back, forcing him to play relatively passive. Because yes, he does, I would say, have the better army still at this point, but one wrong misstep and all these archers are going to be gone. Micro here is so important, as you don't want to get the knights on the spearmen, and you don't want to get the horsemen on the archers. Those archers will get melted down like a hot knife through butter. We have another production structure coming online, by the way, another archery range. He's going to be upgrading also his steeled arrow, looking for some more range damage, so he still believes he can make a push, get some damage done. We head over to the right side of the map here. LouisMT only on, well, 2 production structure, 1 horse, 1 spearman. That's all your boy really needs. He can use the Imperial official there to speed up the production, but at the moment he's looking just to eco up, as he's not scared of the aggression yet. Pilgrim trying to get to his location. The knights here absolutely denying it. Great job protecting his boy. 100 free gold. Beautiful play. Free real estate. Exactly what you like to see. Now we're going to see a wall coming up from LouisMT, looking to deny any future pilgrims from getting that bonus once again on the northern side of the map. But as the game has continued to develop, neither team has really taken a trade here. Both been playing passive, respecting each other. And we have Age 3 coming online. If my man's going to make a move, it has to be now, as that is quite the costly investment from LouisMT, meaning he did not spend that money into army. He does not have the extra cash for units right now, and the Age 3 just came up, but he doesn't have the upgrades yet from Age 3, so he has to make an all or nothing push. What an absolute surround by the spearmen. The knights forced to go up, protecting the archer at all costs, but the horseman spear combo just too much to bear, and he's forcing him back. The endless knights fighting on the front line. The cavalier looking to get some damage done, but the horsemen finding the back line of the archers, shredding them down like paper. And this trade, absolutely amazing for LouisMT. His tier 3 upgrades are now coming online. Veteran spearmen are on the board. Soon the horsemen, I believe, will follow and get another upgrade. And once that comes online, my boy Twilight, well, it's going to be all he wrote. As he built the army, he planned for aggression, but LouisMT executed precision. Surgical. With his timing, his eco, everything matched to perfection in order to allow him to equal safely to tier 3, get that massive upgrade advantage. And now, well, Twilight's stuck between a rock and a hard place. He invested a lot into military production, invested a lot into getting some damage done, but he's still sitting on tier 2, while LouisMT, he's sitting on tier 3. Now, the one good thing is, well, he doesn't know exactly where Twilight is at in terms of his economy, if he's trying to go tier 3 or if he's going for aggression, as he hasn't scouted my boy's base in quite some time. This means that he should either A, play aggressive, look to finish the game before he loses his lead, or in this case, he could just sit back and eco up, as he's a whole tier above, and our boy Twilight has no chance of hitting tier 3 anytime soon. Another raid coming in, the horsemen frying the villagers, leaving them to dust. Massive run by, further cementing his domination in this game. Twilight cannot afford to lose any villagers. Now a 15 villager lead. That is absolutely catastrophic for his economy. Twilight desperately looking for damage, desperately looking for a way to get back in this game. But the squadron of spearmen, they look like literal zerglings running down the knights. Absolutely terrified of what may come. But he still believes in the cause as he's sending pilgrims over to the sacred site. But I believe now that LouisMT has gained map control, has a solid foundation, these pilgrims will no longer be getting their bonuses, will no longer be able to lock in that extra bonus gold, unless maybe he's feeling generous and just wants it to happen. Or maybe he scouted this out earlier. How many villagers here? 10 villagers versus 11 horsemen. Let me tell you, bro, that's not a trade you want to see. Now they're ripe for the picking in all-you-can-eat horse buffet. The horse can't tell the difference between a human and a pile of hay. Let me tell you, they're eating good. Even the wolf wants in on that action, and with the final run by, that's going to be all she wrote. Like and subscribe. Welcome in, brothers. And with that, hope you guys all have a fantastic day.